Welcome. It's party night. Certainly sounds like it. Members and guests of the Melbourne Mining Club, welcome to our 9th annual event in London, the 7th at Lord's. Thank you very much for coming. My name's Ian Howarth. I'm your MC for the night. I'm a member of the steering committee of the Melbourne Mining Club, have been for a long time, and I have a day job. Now, I've been planning this little speech for a long time, but this bit of it I've never planned, and I've always wanted to say this. It's a record July temperature today in London. It's not the hottest day in London ever. That was back in August 2003, but it is hot enough for me to say, gentlemen, you may remove your coats. And ladies, you may do whatever you like. With me in the room tonight are my Melbourne Mining Club colleagues, Richard Morrow, the chairman of our association, Gavin Collery, sitting up the back, and Jenny Neals and her team out the front, who you met earlier on your way in. They've all done a tremendous amount of work to get us here tonight. But just as Lord's is the home of cricket, it's also become a home for the Melbourne Mining Club in London. It's just as Lord's is our home here, Melbourne is the historic and financial centre of the mining industry in Australia. Tonight we've got a capacity crowd. As you can see, it's taken me a long time to get your attention. We're well over 560 people here tonight. I've lost count at the end, but it's in that order, and that's an unbelievable achievement for a group of high school boys from Melbourne to attract so many of our close friends. Thank you for coming. On a slightly more formal note, if in the unexpected event we do need to evacuate this room, you will hear very loud intermittent beeps, I can guarantee that. Lord's staff will appear and they'll guide us to a safe assembly area outside. We'll proceed in an orderly fashion directly behind me. Please don't chew up the centre wicket area, because that's needed in a couple of weeks when the Aussies chew up the Poms. If you could also remember to turn your mobile phones off to either silent or completely off. And as I said once when we did this function in Shanghai, unless you're a Chinese stockbroker, in which case you're fully entitled to turn it up full blast and speak at full volume at any time you so desire. A little bit about the Melbourne Mining Club. We're a not-for-profit enterprise, but we are all about having some fun. We were established in 2001 under the patronage of Australian mining industry and global mining industry icon Sir Avi Parbo. He sends his warmest regards, but due to his age, he can't be here tonight. Any surplus funds generated from these events are ploughed back into the mining industry through the various education programs which we support, which are supported and directed by the Minerals Council and the AusIMM, both of who are here tonight. But put simply, the MMC, the Melbourne Mining Club, provides a forum for the global mining industry to present matters and issues of importance to a much wider audience. And we've got a lot of media friends here tonight who help us deliver that message out to the wider market. So we thank them for coming along as well. In order to make these events possible, of course, we have a large number of special guests and sponsors who help us out. Leading the list here tonight, of course, is Australia's High Commissioner to the United Kingdom, His Excellency the Honourable Alexander Downer. Welcome, Alexander. We have the Treasurer of the Victorian Government, the Victorian State Government, the Honourable Tim Pallas. Welcome. We have, alongside him, his Agent General, Jeffrey Conahan. We have a number of former MMC speakers here tonight, including Mark Koutafani, who spoke here last year. He's the CEO of Anglo American. We have Ian Cockerell, I said hello to earlier in the night. He was the CEO of Goldfields when he spoke in 2003. Tom Albanese is here. He's spoken to the Melbourne Mining Club on a number of occasions in his former role as CEO of Rio Tinto. Jose Carlos Martins, I apologise, formerly with Vale, has spoken both in Melbourne and London. And in February this year, Alan Davies, the Chief Executive of Diamond and Minerals with Rio Tinto, spoke as well in Melbourne, and he's here tonight, so welcome to all of them. We'd also like to welcome His Excellency Paul Myler, Australia's ambassador to the Russian Federation. We've got the Chief Executive of the Minerals Council of Australia, Brendan Pearson. Close to him is the President of the AusIMM, the Australasian Institute of Mining and Metallurgy, Rex Berthelsen, and his CEO, Mike Catchpole. welcome to you guys. We also extend a very special welcome to our event partner sponsor and their representative ANZ, Andrew Gatesy, who is the CEO, International and Institutional Banking with ANZ. Welcome to you, Andrew. On the basis of a handshake, I have to say the ANZ, a great Australian banking group, has been our event sponsor for 8 years. We haven't been burdened with contracts or the need to sign pieces of paper. They've been willing to help us out on the strength of a handshake for 8 years. So that says something about their lending practices, I would have thought. But anyway, so maybe next year we can get that piece of paper signed. Patrick Smith from the CEO of AMC is here. Welcome, Patrick. John Murray is the Group MD of the Swan Global Group. Those two companies have been principal sponsors of the Melbourne Mining Club from day one, and their support is just unbelievable and very welcome, and we thank you very much. We'll hear a bit more from those guys later in the evening. We also welcome a number of very important support sponsors. Without these companies and individuals, nothing would happen. David Quinlan, partner with Energy and Resources with Deloitte. Keith Cochran, Chief Executive with the Weir Group. Peter Finlay, Senior Projects Partner with White & Case. Alex Miller, Exec Director of RFC Ambrian. David Cook, Australia's Senior Trade and Investment Commissioner for the UK, that's Austrade. And finally, our good friends who are sitting somewhere, I haven't seen them yet, but with FTI Consulting, who have helped us corral so many of the media here tonight. So we thank those guys again very much. So you can sort of see from that long list, and I'm sorry if it took a bit of a while, but you can see why we think the Melbourne Mining Club is actually a pretty big deal. And of course, we also desperately need to thank the City of London for putting on a few support events to help us out as well. They kicked off Wimbledon a couple of days ago. The Henley Royal Regatta started today. The Formula One Grand Prix is on at the weekend. And, of course, the first Ashes test starts next week. So thanks to London for arranging those events. And, of course, speaking of cricket, just as Australia and England have developed a very special bond in minerals and the resources sector generally, we've also got a second-to-none on-field rivalry, of course, in cricket. And in order to remind us a little bit more about how that rivalry was developed and deepened helped. We've invited someone along here who was a fairly integral part of that for a very long period of time, and he's going to tell us a little bit about it. And that's a chap by the name of Rodney Malcolm Hogg, who was the Australian fast bowler of some considerable notoriety, and was also the Australian vice-captain for quite a period of time. Now, Rodney Malcolm was born in the inner Melbourne suburb of Richmond. He received his call-up to the Test arena for the 1978-79 Ashes series, a series which he famously ended with 41 wickets, having taken 6 for 74 on debut. Hoggy, as he's affectionately known, played a total of 38 Test matches for Australia, 71 one-day internationals between 1978 and 1985. In Tests, he took 123 wickets at the not-so-bad average of 28.47. So, members and guests, if we could just have your attention and welcome Rodney Hogg to the podium for a short talk.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. How are we going down there? Is the microphones working at all? Good to see you. I've got a question just before I get going. There was an off-spinner here for Australia who there's an honour board here where if you take a fiver for Australia, make 100, you get an honour board at Lords on the honour board. He took a fiver this century for Australia. And I'll ask someone when I've spoken to put their hand up and see if they can come up with that name. Fiver for Australia at Lords. Look, there's a fear factor in sport, a fear factor. And say you're a group of kids, you're playing the under-16s, you're going by bus to a game of cricket and you're all happy, you're jumping around, you're having a good time. You get to the game, the under-16s, you don't know the opposition, and then your mob wins the toss, your two best batsmen go at the bat, one's the captain, and then you're still sort of joking around a little bit, and the guy starts to mark his run-up. And it goes a little bit further, and someone says, oh, he's marking his run-up a bit further than normal, and all of a sudden, he bowls his first delivery, and he nearly knocks the captain's head off, and the captain falls on the ground. All of a sudden, that little group of 9 little chaps who are waiting to bat, they start to shit themselves, don't they? There's a fear factor. And 2 years ago, the Australian cricket team was unbelievable when they played against the English, and the English had 4 fantastic batsmen, Bell, Peterson, Cook and Trott. 4 fantastic batsmen, but unfortunately for them, Mitchell Johnson created a fear factor and they shit themselves, the English cricketers, because he bowled too fast, and we won the series 5-0. And I'm a bit of a stats sort of a bloke. I love looking at stats, and I thought I'll have a little bit of a look at the end of the series how Mitchell went. And I looked up and I saw 37 wickets at 13.9. And I said to myself, I'm not really a bragger, but if you want to know someone who's had a really great Ashes campaign, go back to 78, 79 when I took 41 at 12.85. That is sensational. I don't want to brag about it too much, but I wake up in the middle of the night sometimes and go 41 at 12.85. How good was that? And I calmly go back to sleep. I pulled into McDonald's in 79 and said to the girl, I have a Big Mac, thanks, and a Coke. And she said, you want some test wickets with that? I said, no, thanks, I've got plenty of them. I went to a function in Perth. You know, sometimes you go to a function, you've got to get name tags. I've gone to this function in Perth, and I'm looking through from a name tag, and the young lady was sort of hanging around. I said, it's all right, I can find my own name tag. But she sort of followed me a bit. And as I went to pick my name tag up, she picked up and she said, Hogg. She said, are you Brad Hogg's father? Brad Hogg's father, he's a fruitcake and he's a spinner. How could I be his father? I went back to my old cricket club, Northcote Cricket Club. And they're going to change the name of the oval to the Bill Laurie Oval. Now, Bill made a magnificent 100 here at Lords on the Ridge in about 1961. He played for Northcote in the 60s and I played there in the 70s. They're going to call the oval the Bill Laurie Oval. And it's here, a couple of committee men came up and I think they're pretty sincere when they came up and they said, Hoggy, we're planning on some extension inside the toilet area and we want to call it the Rodney Hogg Dunnies. I mean, what about a bit of respect for a bloke that's taken 41 at 12.85 and 78, 79 Ashes series. But it didn't occur to him what they're actually speaking about. I was standing at the Sydney Test match with Mark Waugh. Now, I haven't had much to do with Mark Waugh. He's a really, really boring sort of a bloke. And I'm standing with... No, he is. He's really boring. And I'm sitting there with Mark Waugh and a couple of other blokes, and Mark Waugh rolled up a newspaper, put it on his arm, he said, excuse me, John, I'm going for Rodney Hogg. I'm in England. I think we're about a third here tonight, English people, and I don't want to talk too much about World Cups because you're never in them. But that includes soccer or cricket, whatever. But we as Australians, we can stick our chest out because we're very good at World Cups. And in 1979, but not everybody, I think we've got 3 guys who have played in winning World Cups. What have we got? McGrath, Gilly and Ponting. They've played in 3 winning World Cups. But not everybody can play in a winning World Cup. And in 1979, the second World Cup was going to be here. And I was leaving, the Australian cricket team was going to fly out on the first week, on the Sunday, the first week of June. I was living in Adelaide. I thought I'd fly over, watch Collingwood play South Melbourne down the old South Melbourne footy ground, and then I'll fly out with the Australian cricket team on the Sunday. So I flew over. I had a little bit of a drinking problem in 79. Might have had 7 or 8 cans at the footy. A little bit of light rain fell, and I picked up a cold. Now, I don't know colds for you people, but later that night, a few extra drinks, the cold turned into a bit of bronchitis. I'm a bronchial sort of person. By the time next morning, I'm really crooked. Anybody in this room, especially the people down there, have you all had bronchitis down there? Ever been to the doctors and he's written out a script, spend 28 hours on a plane? No. Off we go for the World Cup. By the time I get to England, I'm really crooked. The bronchitis has really kicked in. Straight to bed at the Waldorf Hotel. And I'm in bed for 4 days. And in 4 days, I get a tap on the door, and it's Kim Hughes, Captain Australia, and the tour manager, David Richardson. They said, what's the problem, Hoggy? I said, I've been lying in bed here with bronchitis for 4 days, and you blokes are rocked up now. I said, here's a doctor's certificate. And Kim goes, well, we're sorry, crook, mate, but we're going to play Canada in 3 days' time. If you can't play, we're going to send you home. Canada. Canada can't play cricket, can they? And in those days, you could talk to your captain how you wanted to. So, and you got a massive reduction in your salary if you went home early. So I said to Kim, I'm not going home, mate. So he said, fair enough. So the next day I went for a bit of a jog out the Strand, isn't it? Outside the Waldorf Hotel. Bit of a jog, back to bed. Following day, the bus up to Edgbaston. And the following day, I'm going to open the bowling for Australia up at Edgbaston, Birmingham. And here I am at the top of my run-up, and the two opening batsmen came past. And one was a dark-skinned bloke, and I thought, hang on a minute. I've done a bit of geography. It snows all the time in Canada. He didn't look Indian, didn't look Pakistani, didn't look Sri Lankan, didn't look Aboriginal. He looked a bit West Indian. And he took strike. And in England, they don't put names on the board, just put numbers. So up goes number 1 and number 2. So here I am with bronchitis, going out in the bowling to a bloke who's number 1, who looks West Indian, and he's playing for Canada. So I thought I'd go along with this. So I bowled the first ball, and he just blocked it. I picked the ball up, and I'm walking back. Now I'm thinking to myself, I've just come off 41 at 12.85. I'm expected to take 7 wickets for 10 against Canada because they can't play. So I thought I'd give this bloke an outswinger. I didn't really have an outswinger, but he didn't know that. So I've watched where the superstars have landed delivery. So I landed the ball perfectly. We were Alderman, Fleming, Dale, Anderson landed their outswinger. I landed it there. This bloke's gone smash. The ball went through the covers at 100 miles an hour. Hit one of those little screens. I got the ball back. Now, what's a lunatic fast bowler with bronchitis going to do with his next delivery? I'm going to bowl a bouncer, but it's not going to be a real bouncer. It's going to be a bronchial bouncer. But that's enough to get someone from Canada out because Canada can't play. So racing and gave this bloke a bronchial bouncer. Now, only certain things can happen when you hit someone, when you bowl a short ball. You hit them on the head, they duck it, they weave it, they defend it, they let it go through the keeper, they turn it for a single, they hook it down a fine leg. None of those things happen. This bloke's flat batted the ball. I had a bit of hair in 79, and this ball came whistling back through my hair, one bounce into the side screen. At the end of my second over, and it might be an only child sort of thing, but I just snatched the baggy green and the jumper off the ump. Just snatched it, because I've been belted. 2 overs, none for 26. I've lost the battle, haven't I? Just snatched. I'm not going to have to bowl again. Just hurried down a fine leg. And I've got to be honest with you, being an only child, I don't give a rat's ass how Australia's going. I'm only interested in myself. No, and if there's any only children in this room, they'll be able to relate this. So I'm down a fine leg, no one interested in the game. Alan Hurst finishes his second over, and it's time for the 5th over, which would have been my 3rd. And Kim Hughes is standing there with the umpire. Nobody's coming up to take my spot. So I thought, what's going on here? So I walked all the way up. He swung around and said, what are you doing here, Hogger? I said, well, you haven't told me to have a spell. He said, 2 overs, none for 26. I said, Kim, you're the 2nd worst captain Australia's ever had. He said, pee off down a fine leg. I've had to go from one fine leg all the way down to the other end with bronchitis. Do you reckon I was interested in the game down there? No interest whatsoever. Alan Hurst bowled beautifully, took 5 for 21. We knocked Canada over for 102, and then we passed them 2 down. Do you reckon at the end of the game, I'm packing up the gear, do you reckon I want to go next door and meet number 1 and number 2? No interest whatsoever. Jumped on the bus, went on through life. 20 years later, my son's playing the under-14s grand final. Knoxfield are playing Bluebirds in the Ferntree Gully competition. And he's made 5th in the semi-final. And look, I don't give a rat's ass about other people's kids, but I love my own son. And I'm driving him to the ground. He's got 5th in the semi-final. I'm pumping his tyres up. We get to the ground. I park the other side of the grandstand. He jumps out and said, good luck, buddy. Goes around. He's in the 1st over of the morning. And in moves this silky, smooth, dark-skinned kid. He didn't look Indian, didn't look Pakistani, didn't look Sri Lankan, didn't look Aboriginal. He looked a bit West Indian. Because they run a certain way, West Indians. And with his first delivery, in an under-14s, under-16s, you just expect if someone gets bowled, the bail drops off. My son's stump cartwheeled out of the ground. And I thought, how good's this kid? I'm pretty upset about the young bloke getting a duck, but I'm also interested in fast bowls. Jumped out of the car, ran around, looked in the scorebook. It's got Hogg bowled Sealy, obviously, for a duck. And I'm standing back in the crowd, pretty upset about the young bloke, remembering his name Sealy. I get a tap on the shoulder. Turn around. There's a dark-skinned bloke standing about 48 years of age. Stubble growth. He said, are you Rodney Hogg? Now, everybody in this room's got someone where they come up, g'day, Jeff, how are you, mate? You got no idea who they are. I'm trying to run through the West Indian batting line, Greenwich, Haynes. I knew it wasn't Viv, Gomes, Kingy, no. He said, are you Rodney Hogg? I said, as a matter of fact, I am, mate. He said, you've got no idea who I am? Mate, I said, I'm sorry, I don't know who you are. He said, my name's Sealy. I'm the bloke that battled shit out of you in the World Cup in 79. I said, nice to meet you, mate, and I moved on. I haven't got a lot of time, but it's not every day you come to Lord, so I'll just sneak another little story in here. 1990, how are those air conditioners going? English air conditioners, they're not going that well. 1990, I predicted that Shane Warne would take he was playing his first Shield game. I predicted that Shane Warne, I was writing for the Truth newspaper, I predicted Shane Warne would take 500 wickets in the series. And I got the flick pass from the Truth newspaper. They sacked me. And I've gone home, 1990, I'm 40 years of age, I sat on the couch and my wife said, "What's the problem, dear?" I said, "I've just been sacked by the Truth newspaper." She said, "Get off your rump and go down and get a fair income job." So I went down to the Warrandyte fruit shop and I bought the shop. I sucked in, I knew the bloke there. I got sucked in $87,500 plus a truck. Does anybody know anything about fruit shops? I knew absolutely nothing about them. Absolutely nothing about it. 7 days a week, 4 mornings. And ladies, if there's some ladies down, you'll be able to relate to this because this is in your league here. 7 days a week, 4 mornings, get up at 3:30, drive the truck into the Footscray market, dodge the mafia bullets, load the truck up at fruit and veg, drive the truck back to the shop, and then at 3:30 in the afternoon, Mrs. Smith comes with her 3 kids, and you've got to be nice to her. "Hello, Mrs. Smith, how are you?" "The Henry peaches are beautiful, the Royal Gales, how's the kids?" "The Royal Gales are sharp and crispy." "Do you have Royal Gales over here? Sharp and crispy, Fuji, all that sort of stuff." Apparently in retailing, you've got to be nice to people. My whole life was just bowling short. In the under-13s, I hit a kid in the head, and his mum chased him with an umbrella. At the age of 16, I hit a bloke in the head. Northcote seconds playing, Melbourne seconds. He was wriggling around the ground. Instead of ringing for an ambulance, the secretary went over the first and they rang up an ambulance. And at the age of 27, 28, South Australia played England. Excuse me. South Australia, thanks for laughing at that. South Australia played England at the Adelaide Oval, and a bloke came out the bat for England by the name of Clive Radley. He was averaging 43, didn't have a helmet on. I had the wonderful pleasure to get a ball to kick off a good length, smashed him in his head and he fell on the stumps. It's the perfect dismissal. It's a win-win situation. So my whole life is just bowling short. My wife used to come in the shop and go, "Get out in the cool room, your sarcasm's killing the business." I did this for 3 years. Over the road was the Warrandyte Cricket Ground. Warrandyte Cricket Ground, concrete, artificial grass. What's that tell you? Throw a ball down on concrete, comes back up to here, doesn't it? What's that tell you? So I started training again, then I started playing. In 1993, everybody had a helmet on. It's still a good, I don't care whether you hit someone on the head with a helmet on or no helmet. It's a good feeling. Whether you hit them on the head, doesn't matter. So I'd come back in the shop, I'd bowl all this short stuff on the Saturday afternoon, go back to the fruit shop, and I was a lovely bloke. And the word went round Warrandyte, not a bad bloke, the old fella, good fella. And profits went through the roof. I can't quite tell you because it's a cash business. But anyway, profits went through the roof. We've gone out to Wonga Park. Warrandyte's going to play Wonga Park. I'm at the top of my run-up. And the 2 batsmen came past. One was about that tall. Now, what's an ex-superstar international cricketer with 41 at 12.85 in the 78-79 Ashes series going to do a little fella this tall? About 16 he was. I found out later. I'm going to have to pitch him up. I don't know why God invented left-handers. I hate left-handers. The little fella took strike. He was left-handed. I thought, I don't like this kid too much, but I'm going to have to let him off. So I pitched the first 3 balls up, and he just blocked them back. And on the third one, he had to have a sarcastic look on his face. He went, And on the third one, I saw him wink to his mate down the other end as if, don't worry about the old bloke, he's bowling half rapper. I saw this and I thought, I don't like this kid. The truce is off. I'm going to try and maim him. Now, it's a funny sight to see a 43-year-old broken down ex-international cricketer trying to bounce the shit out of a little kid. Bouncer, 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 swear, 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 sledge, sledge, sledge. Now, I'm not the... One of my other achievements in cricket is I was a really good sledger. I'm the best 10 sledgers Australia's ever produced. I was a good swearer. I reckon Lenny Pascoe's number 1, Mervyn Hughes number 2, Lenny Pascoe number 3. I come in about 7th. I was a really good... And I'm giving this kid bouncer, 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 sledge, 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 swear, swear, swear. And he was one of these little shy kids who didn't even say yes, no, wait. And we haven't heard one word from him, and the little fella got to 98 not out. And the sad thing about this story, I haven't given him one bruise. There's no bruises on his body. And I thought, I just want to get him. So I kissed the ball like Malinga, raced in and gave him another short one. The little fella got on his toes and glided it between third slip and gully and went down the fence for 4 for his 100. I've lost the battle, haven't I? I've just got to stand there, red-faced. And the Wonga Park people, you're an old idiot hog, you're finished, give it away. the little fella come down, tapped his back down, and he said, "Excuse me, Mr. Hogg, I thought you were selling watermelons. I didn't get bowled them." Anybody know the answer to my question earlier? No one. Marcus North. Thank you.
Well, thanks very much. Thanks, ladies and gentlemen. If I could just keep you with us just for another couple of moments. Thanks, everybody. And Rodney, thanks for doing your bit for Australia-English relations. Very good of you. Now, I'd like to welcome to the stage... Thanks, ladies and gentlemen. Just a couple more things before we get stuck into the tucker and the talking. I'd like to invite the Honourable Tim Pallas to the stage, the Treasurer of the great state of Victoria. His government has a very strong policy on public transport, and at a minerals industry dinner tonight, I'm sure that'll be fascinating. So, Tim, if you'd like to come and tell us about that, thanks very much.
Fair dinkum. I get to follow that. I cannot believe it. Look, thank you very much. And to the Melbourne Mining Club, I want to first of all indicate to you that the great ambition that I had when I was told that I was going to be able to come to Lords was my childhood ambition to one day come to Lords and make an undefeated century. Unfortunately, I'm not going to achieve that objective. So I'll talk for about, an undefeated hour. And, well, maybe as the Treasurer of Victoria, this is not a bad alternative because it's a great state and it's a great time to be in London. The amazing thing about coming to the United Kingdom is how much they complain about the weather. Like, this is a wonderful time of year, but every time you catch somebody driving a cab, the first thing they tell you is how miserable the weather is. So the one thing that I'm particularly pleased about is how Victoria is on display, full display, the great things that make our state such an amazing place. And of course, one of the things that is particularly great about Victoria is how our economy is really showing real signs of improving. The economic indicators suggest Victoria is returning to its role as the engine room of the Australian economy, and not before time. The move from the mining investment phase to the production phase has contributed to a fall in the Australian dollar. Might not be great for the mining industry, but let me tell you, for the state of Victoria, it puts us well and truly back into the game. It effectively means that our diverse economy, including our increasingly sophisticated services sector and the broad-based manufacturing and agricultural industries are increasingly competitive. We went through our mining boom in the 80s, 1850s, 1860s, and 150 years later, we found other ways to generate prosperity. In many ways, the gold mining era was Victoria's adolescence. But like a teenager, we've outgrown and we've outstripped our decision-making capacity. We're now a post-mining state. But only having been a post-mining state, we are very proud of our history and also the legacy that mining has bequeathed to our state. A legacy, of course, in terms of expertise that continues to serve us in good stead. We have an economy and a society that has a considerable and matured, but it is not lacking in terms of its energy. So while we're not running a mining state, we're a hub of mining and mining services. Mining companies including Rio Tinto, BHP, MMG Limited, Newcrest Mining and Orica call Melbourne home. Over 50% of the ASX market capitalisation for mining stock has its corporate headquarters in Melbourne. Victoria has proven capabilities in engineering, technology, mineral exploration, management services, mining products and professional services. Victoria's mining equipment, technology and services sector has contributed an estimated $17 billion in 2012, and our state is Australia's largest exporter of these professional services. So the Victorian Government is committed to capitalise on our competitive advantage in this area. And to this end, we'll be hosting the second annual International Mining and Resources Conference from the 9th to the 13th of November. And this conference will bring together global leaders, executives, investors and national mining ministers from the international mining sector. Australia's mining and mineral services credentials, coupled with our reputation for hosting large-scale events, provide the perfect setting for this conference. So, of course, as a state, we remain very proud of our history and our support for the mining industry. We remain particularly proud of the fact that Melbourne and Victoria is the host of the mining services sector. But most importantly, our pride continues to brim with the fact that our state has demonstrated that we can play a very substantial contribution in the post-mining boom, but recognising that mining plays a very considerable part in our economy for the future going forward. Thank you very much for the opportunity to be here, and I hope you enjoy the evening.
All right, I know you're very hungry and I know you're very keen for a chat and a drink, but if I could just hold your attention for another 3 or 4 minutes, that'd be greatly appreciated. Thanks, everybody. If I could have your attention. Thank you. Now, just before the main course is served, I'd like to invite His Excellency, the High Commissioner to the UK, the Honourable Alexander Downer, to deliver the official welcome, as opposed to the unofficial welcome. So if you could do Alexander the courtesy of listening to for 2 or 3 minutes, that'd be great.
Honestly, I'm sure the one thing you want is a long speech. I used to be a politician, but I've, as I was saying to Tim Pallas earlier today, I've left politics and I've now soar above that world as a High Commissioner. And I just want to say to you that being the Australian High Commissioner here, it's a tough job because Australia is the single most popular country in the UK other than the UK itself, and I appreciate that. But it's the burden of work that troubles me. I had to spend nearly all of yesterday at Wimbledon. I have the Melbourne Mining Club dinner tonight. I'm dreading it, but I've got 5 test matches to sit through, one of them here. But, you know, it has to be done. And at the end of the year, towards the end of the year, there's the World Cup Rugby. I mean, that's my work schedule. I'm looking forward to having a bit of time off in between. But I want to say only this, that it's wonderful to see you all here. As you represent in so many ways the great power of Australia, our mining sector, as you've heard from others, is such a hugely important part of our nation, of the way we project ourselves to the world, of the strength of our economy. And here in the UK, it has an extraordinarily positive reputation. But to be here at Lord's, the home of cricket, to have the great Rodney Hogg here, it's wonderful to have him here and to hear him speak. I had lunch today, another difficult thing I had to do. I had lunch today with Glenn McGrath. So to spend one day with 2 such great Australian bowlers has been a huge pleasure. Will we win the Ashes? I am cautiously optimistic we will. But we are in any case looking forward to a wonderful series, and in particular to the second test, which will be played right here at Lord's. So wonderful to see you all, to spend some time with you tonight, and I hope you have an absolutely fantastic evening. Thank you.